What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today we're going to be looking at some NHL trade rumors surrounding a bunch of different players from the NHL, of course, and some guys that currently aren't in the NHL, some are in the AHL, some are overseas, but there is a bunch of different guys right now that are being discussed in trade talks. Now, there's a couple names that I think are really strong trade candidates, while there's also a couple where it's not exactly where you would want it to be if you're a fan of trades. But hopefully you will enjoy this video. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 7,000 subscribers. But let's waste no more time. I mentioned yesterday, and I'm not sure, obviously it's going to depend when you're watching this video, but I made a video on Taylor Hall talking about that there could be some trade interest for sure if the Devils continue to have a poor season. Well, the Devils finally got their first win yesterday. Again, could be different by the time you're watching this video, but they definitely needed to get that victory to start to get the ball rolling here. So we'll have to see how the Devils keep moving on and on. If they can win some more hockey games, it's going to be much more interesting, because then you're hoping that Taylor Hall will continue to buy in to the program that you're putting together, because the Devils were very hot in the offseason. Some things that I think people are getting confused about is that I'm not saying that Taylor Hall is 100% getting traded. I said literally if the Devils continue to fall down the standings, which they're pretty much at the bottom right now, but if they continue to fall as the months go on, there's no question the Devils will have to move on if he's not interested in signing a contract before the trade deadline, because they can't risk losing him for nothing. So that's what I just wanted to update that a little bit on Taylor Hall, because there is interest there, I'm sure, from other teams. Like, Elliot Freeman was bringing up that the Oilers could correct a mistake by reacquiring him, or maybe even signing him in free agency if they're able to move out some cap in the summer. But that's far away. But there are some players right now that could seriously be traded very soon, just because of situations that they're in and teams that are looking for players. And, it's interesting. This early into the season, you would figure a lot of teams would be in the wait-and-see mode. But there have been some injuries, there have been some problems, and there have been some holes that teams weren't expecting to have holes in. And there's also some good teams that are just wanting to get even better. So that team that would be, that is good and is looking to get better is the Hurricanes. Now, Pierre LeBrun from TSN is basically saying that he thinks the Hurricanes are making inquiries. At the end of the day, they're not exactly pushing hard for somebody yet, but they believe, LeBrun believes that they're looking for a top 9 forward to complement their great team. And those guys could be a guy like Josh Ho-Sang from the New York Islanders organization. And the first line here makes a ton of sense. Talk about a guy in need of a change of scenery. I've been saying this for a long time. You never know how good Ho-Sang can be with some new leadership group around him, some new leaders around him, I should say, whether that's from the management standpoint, the coaching standpoint, from player standpoint. And that's not to say those guys aren't doing that with the Islanders, but sometimes it just takes, a guy getting moved from one place to the other to really clear their mind and say, okay, now it's time to go. It's time to really prove, how good of a player I can be and how good of a listener I can be. And I think Ho-Sang is not past that point. I think that he definitely can move on somewhere else and play good hockey while also being a good teammate. And I'm hoping that's the case. We're trying to be optimistic here. So that would be a guy that could complement that lineup, and maybe he strikes gold, or maybe they strike gold and he, strikes fire, really, and he starts going. The other guy is Jesse Puljujarvi. He's been playing pretty well in Finland, and he's probably a better risk at this point, just based off the fact that, the Hurricanes are a good team. He would probably want to go and play there. He would probably get some decent minutes, nothing too crazy. The Hurricanes are looking for some scoring, but they do have a decent forward group there already. They made some really good moves in the offseason. But I think that even if he played on that third line, there's a really good shot that he would be interested in playing there. I'm sure he wants to be in the NHL, although he did say recently that he's okay with playing in Finland all year, but I don't think the Oilers are okay with that. The fact that the Oilers have started off so hot and he doesn't want to come back to the Oilers means that he just wants a change of scenery. I'm a little surprised that he wouldn't consider coming back to the Oilers. Considering there's a whole new management staff and coaching staff there, and the team looks to be a little bit better this year. So if I was Puljujarvi, I would have given the Oilers another shot. But at the same time, he wants to have another shot somewhere else. You can't really blame him for it. And maybe that's a good spot, the Hurricanes, maybe, for him to end up there. Now, the next guy here is Jonathan Quick. Apparently, Bob McKenzie is saying that the Kings might try to move on from him, or there's just some uncertainty there because right now Jack Campbell has been playing a little bit more than Jonathan Quick, and I don't know. This kind of sucks because I grew up watching Jonathan Quick. I'm a big fan of the guy. I think that he's had some bad games, and he's had a couple poor moments when it comes to his attitude, but at the same time, it's just because he's frustrated with losing sometimes. He's never really, from what I've heard and from what I've seen, he's never really, gone, you guys know, like crazy. Like, I don't want to give any examples, but Quick has allowed 19 goals for an NHL worst .793 save percentage, which is just unlike him. If you're a hockey fan, of course, you would know he's usually been very good over his career. Now, Cal Peterson, or Cal Pedersen, I don't want to mispronounce his name. I know there's always a bunch of different pronunciations, and I always seem to pick the wrong one. But the Kings have him as a pretty high-end prospect that they like, who could become a pretty solid backup, or you never know, starting goaltender. And they like Jack Campbell the way he's been playing. So basically, right now that you're looking at Jonathan Quick and saying, are there teams that would be interested? Is he even willing to make a move like that? Because I'm sure that they're at least giving him the time of day and saying, listen, man, like, we might move on from you. We don't want you to hear from anybody else. You've done so much for this, this city and for this team. But right now he's got 4 years left on a $5.8 million contract. So that is not really tradable if he's got an NHL worth .793 save percentage. So I'm hoping that he just ends up playing better and stays with LA, and then maybe there's a trade possibility, because I would hate to see Jonathan Quick's LA tenure end like this. I just don't want to see him get traded for a bunch of nothing, pretty much, unless he goes to another team and excels, which would be awesome. But yeah, these are just some of the names that have been around there. Ristolainen, we've heard a lot about him as well in Buffalo, about possibly getting traded, but apparently he really likes Ralph Kruger and wants to stick around, so that's good for Buffalo. They've been playing really good. I think they're like first in the NHL right now as I'm recording this video. I said that they were going to be pretty good this year. I figured that they should, at least. The last couple years I figured they'd be good, but this year they for sure look legit. So again, keep an eye on Ho-Sang, Puljujarvi, Quick, Taylor Hall possibly, Rasmus Ristolainen seems like he's staying put. I mean, that's all the rumors I've got today. Just some names that are floating out there. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. I'd love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 7,000 subscribers, and I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.